Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, and in today's short video we're looking at what goals are in Google Analytics. So if you've got Google Analytics installed on your site, and if you don't, well, you should really go out and get it installed because it kind of is the industry standard tool for understanding the performance of your website. Well, you're probably already familiar with some of the basic functionalities. So you've got things like understanding, what channels your website visitors come from. Are they coming from organic searches, email campaigns, Google Ads, all those kinds of things. You can look into your geographic information. So are visitors coming from certain countries or cities or regions? What sort of devices they're using? Do you get more desktop visits or more mobile visits? Or maybe you get more iPad, tablet visits? Who knows? You can understand all sorts of interaction and engagement metrics on your website. And it really is something that, regardless of what industry you're in, how big your website is, how much of a role it plays in your business, whatever you're doing, you should definitely have Google Analytics installed. Even if you use a platform that provides its own internal analytics. Google Analytics is just the gold standard. If you ever come to hire a marketing consultant or anything like that, or an agency, they're probably going to want to see your Google Analytics data. So start collecting it now if you haven't already got it set up. But within Google Analytics, what if you want to measure certain events? So you want to know, for example, how many people who come to your website actually complete, say, a contact form, to request a free quote, and of those people, where do they actually come from? Most of your contact form requests, your quote requests, I should say, are they coming from organic Google searches? Are they coming from social media traffic? Are they coming from paid advertising campaigns? How do all those sort of different channels stack up? What if you wanted to track the number of people who are, say, clicking to call? So they're coming onto your site, they see a phone number and they click it on their mobile phone and they dial that number, and you wanted to track that as a sort of commercially valuable outcome. Well, the good news is just about anything like that you want to track is actually trackable via goals in Google Analytics. Now, depending on what you want to configure as a goal, the setup process may be relatively simple, or it can be quite difficult. But what we will do is we will roll with a very basic example. So imagine on your website, as I mentioned earlier, you have a form where a user can come and they can request a free quote or demo for your product. Very common scenario. So someone arrives on your site, they're interested in what you're offering, they decide they're going to go and sign up for that free demo or free trial, or however you phrased it, and they go and they fill out a form, and then when they submit their form, they're pushed off to, say, a thank you page. It says, hey, thanks for contacting, we will be in touch soon. Now what we can do is actually create a goal in Google Analytics that just looks out for people hitting that confirmation page. So we're kind of saying to Google, hey, look, the measure of success here is someone hitting that thank you page, because the only way they're going to get to that thank you page is if they actually sort of go through the site and complete that form and then wind up there. They're not probably going to go and find that page any other way. And obviously there's more advanced things we can discuss around that for future videos around preventing people from accidentally triggering your goals and all sorts of things. But hopefully the basic process makes sense. Basically we're just tracking how many people actually complete that form and wind up on that success or confirmation page, and that would be a goal in Google Analytics. It would be an example of a destination goal. But there are all sorts of other goals as well. We can track time on site, so we can create goals for how long people spend on the site. If we think that, hey, people hitting 2 minutes on the site, that's something we really want to understand and we want to measure and we want to sort of assess the performance. Well, we could create that as a goal. We can trigger goals based on events. So if you've heard of Google Tag Manager, for example, it's actually really easy to create an event that triggers when someone clicks on your mobile phone number, or your click to call number, I should say, and they pop that up on their phone. Well, we can pass that back to analytics and then trigger a goal off the back of that as well to understand where those phone inquiries are coming from. So basically with goals in Google Analytics, what you're doing is tracking and measuring and understanding those valuable interactions. That's how I think you should envisage and sort of think of goals in Google Analytics. It's one thing to track who comes to your website or how many people come to your website, but it's another thing to understand how much of that traffic actually does anything commercially valuable, and of that traffic, what channels actually provide the biggest impact. Because it might be that you get tons of traffic from social media, for example, but it hardly ever converts. But you get way less traffic from, say, Google advertising, but it converts at a really high rate, in which case maybe you're better off to actually focus on, can you extract more value, more traffic, more conversions, and all those kinds of things out of your Google Ads activity? Or is there something you need to do with your social media activity or the layout of your website, or all sorts of possibilities really to make those conversions from social media actually go up so that you can maximize the value of that traffic? So goals in Google Analytics, really just a way of measuring valuable interactions. And those valuable interactions can kind of be whatever you want them to be. In a future video, I'll do some coverage of what you would normally track as goals for most businesses, because there are quite a few different sort of standard goals that most businesses would be interested in. But for now, I hope this gives you a good explanation of what Google Analytics goals are. And keep an eye out, as I said, for more future videos where we talk more about Google Analytics, how to use it, how to understand it, how to set things up. If you like this video, please do give it a like here on YouTube. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. If you need to get hold of me, message me on LinkedIn, email me on info@samfrost.co.nz, or leave a comment in the video description. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.